I'm Robin Henning, and welcome to another Exchange Life Nugget of Truth. We're fast coming up on what our culture deems their second most favorite holiday, and that's Halloween. Now, I grew up doing the whole trick-or-treat, give me candy deal, and I didn't suffer for it spiritually. So I'm really not here to tell you whether you should let your kids trick-or-treat. That's not what this is about. However, I do want to address some of the issues that many Christians are ignorant of as evil continues to grow in favor in our culture. More and more TV shows are premised on evil, and the movie industry continues to cater to the horror movie genre. But that's really nothing new. In my youth, it was Bewitched, it was Bedknobs and Broomsticks and other movies like that. Now in this generation, it's the Harry Potter books and the Harry Potter movies and the vampire movies. But the question remains, should a Christian view horror movies? Should they read these books? Should they watch these TV shows? To me, it's a question more of alliance than anything else. These books, these TV shows, these movies, they glorify evil. For example, and I know some of you aren't going to be happy with me here, but the character Harry Potter, he uses magic with a K, meaning spells and curses, in order to accomplish his intent, to ward off the bad guys or whatever. And Harry might be referred to as a white witch. In other words, someone who uses wizardry for good purposes. But here's the problem. There is no good wizard or witch or Wiccan, because it's white or black doesn't matter. It's all the same power source, and that's Satan. This is why God condemned in the Old Testament, he condemned it in sorcery or witchcraft, wizards, witches, in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10. Then in Galatians chapter 5, Paul lists it among the works of the flesh and to have nothing to do with these things. See, folks, Satan uses movies like Harry Potter to entice kids to experimenting with spells and curses. Years ago, it used to be Dungeons and Dragons. Now it's the vampires and the zombie movies and Harry Potter. When a kid then, let's say they're being bullied, and they use a spell to deal with that bullying, it works. They're enticed to go further into it. Now, I recently listened to a testimony of a man who came out of the occult, but he was raised in a Baptist church, grew up going to Sunday school, hearing the gospel. But he got hooked on Dungeons and Dragons. His parents didn't know any better, and he learned about spells and he learned about curses. And so he tried a money spell. I think his first attempt was to get a random $5, and it worked. So he upped the stakes to 20, and it worked. And he was hooked. And so he started learning all he could about spells and utilizing them. And then he connected with some other people who were interested in doing the same thing through the D&D circles. And lo and behold, he winds up connected with a coven. He didn't even know it at first until somebody clued him in. Hey, you know the people you're hanging out with? That's a coven. And then he asked them, are you guys really a coven? And they said, yeah, sure. He goes on and climbs the ranks to becoming a grand wizard. Now, that's a very high position in Satanism. Long story short, the Lord miraculously saved him, intervened in his life, and he was able to get out of the occult. It was very difficult, but he was able to get out of the occult and now has a ministry that the Lord is using. So this is a kid that grew up in church, that got hooked on it, walked away from the faith, and got involved in some really bad stuff. You know, folks, Satanism is very real, and it's growing. I could tell you all kinds of things that are going on in my area and around the country. They're getting bolder, more overt. They just had a coven ceremony in New York City, downtown. You know, some stuff that's been going on in Detroit with a satanic statue that's been unveiled. It's some really scary stuff, and sad that people are hooked on this. But folks, Halloween is Satan's high holy day. They love it. There will be children sacrificed. There will be adults sacrificed in pagan satanic ceremonies on Halloween. And the Bible tells us that it's God's grace that is teaching us to say no to ungodliness, to not have any part in it. So teach your kids to evaluate the TV, the books, the movies. Is good, is evil being portrayed as good? That's a problem. You need to stay away from that. Look, watching TV shows with ghosts and paranormal phenomena and horror movies can all be fascinating to the flesh. It gives us that adrenaline rush. But all that stuff, its roots are in the demonic realm, and they're looking to draw us into the deeper stuff, to take the next step, to go see a psychic, to play with a Ouija board, a magic 8-ball, all kinds of stuff that will give ground to the enemy in our lives, and he'll just be able to torment us. So stay away from that. Beloved, what fellowship has light with darkness? Seriously, when you're enjoying this time of year, enjoy the harvest, enjoy the abundance, and let the Lord lead you as far as trick-or-treating goes. But beloved, stay focused on the light, live in the light, and pray for those that are pursuing darkness, that they'll turn around and come back to Him. I hope this challenges you. I hope it encourages you. I hope you have a blessed week in Jesus.